When we hear the words legato and staccato, makes us think of a really fast Italian sports car, but that's not actually what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with a technique on guitar and in music in general, actually. You'll see this in a lot of classical music referenced. So the real simple definition is legato is what we would hear is flowing notes into each other. So I'm holding each note out right to the very last second before I go to the next one, right? Staccato means cutting off each note a little bit shorter than you would if you were playing it legato. So if you're just playing up your scale with legato and staccato, all right, now the legato technique is a lot of times associated with hammer-ons and pull-offs, right? Because when we're doing hammer-ons, obviously that's our ultimate legato because we're holding this note out as long as we can, and then once we hammer it, the note appears. So it's obviously... Now we can make it a little bit more staccato by right-hand palm muting and muting it. Even when I'm doing my hammer-ons and pull-offs with my left hand, I can still mute it over here. But normally we're going... That's our legato and staccato. That's the difference. So staccato means very short. Legato is very smooth. Very smooth sound with legato. We can also actually use this with chords. So we're thinking about chords. If I'm playing a chord that's going... I can stop it and make it more staccato by hitting here and palm muting here and then lifting off with these fingers, or once again just pulling them off enough to kill the strings. Whereas a legato chord progression would sound more like... Because there you hear each chord just bleeds into the next. Versus... One place you will hear this a lot is like with bass players and bass lines. Sometimes our bass line is going, for our bass players thumping on a low G. There's a big difference between when they play it legato versus staccato. You really can hear the difference in sort of the pumping of that. Some stuff that you really want the rhythm track to be pumping along. The staccato is nice, as opposed to the legato style. So just practice playing up and down whatever scale you pick. You can do it with your minor pentatonic scale for that matter, and play it both ways. Legato or staccato. The thing when you're playing a scale staccato, you want each note to still have the same value. We don't want to hold one out a little bit longer than cut one off too short. A lot of beginning players, everything is way too staccato. They're not even letting the notes ring out. We want to make sure each note gets the same value, even though we're cutting it off just a little bit before the next one. Versus legato, staccato.